What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another WNBA video. We have a 5-game slate to dive into for Tuesday, August 5th. So we're going to break down and analyze each of those 5 games. We're going to talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points and the spread. And we're also going to go over any player props that I found in those games that I like. And when it's all said and done, make sure you check right down there into that pinned comment. You'll find a link down there that's going to send you over to the Guy Boston Sports website. So we're going to find all of my final plays for these games listed for free. Now, guys, let's not waste any time today. Let's go ahead and jump right into the mix, man. We got 5 games to dive into to find some value. So smash that like button down there for me if you can. Hit subscribe if you have not already. Let's get right into the mix, man. 7 p.m. tip-off time for our first game. It's going to be the Dallas Wings taking on the New York Liberty. Liberty are 9.5-point favorites in this one. We got a total sitting at 175.5, and it is moving up. Open up at 173.5. The Wings are going to come into this one with the rest advantage, but man, they've lost 2 in a row, 4 of their last 5. That one win, though, it did come over this New York Liberty team. They are on the road here after 4 straight at home, but then they'll be back home for 3 of their next 4 right after this, and that includes facing off against this Liberty team again right after this one in Dallas. Now, the Wings are 8-21 on the year, 3-11 on the road, and against the spread, they've gone 13-16, 6-8 when playing on the road. And yeah, like we just mentioned, man, the Wings won the first head-to-head between these two this season, 92-82, and that was their first win over New York in 2 years. Liberty, they're coming in off of a much-needed win themselves after that injury bug hit them yet again, man. This time Stewie going down. And New York fell into a 4-game losing streak. They're back home after a 4-game road trip, but they're going to alternate home with road games over their next 4. New York is 18-10 on the season. That is second in the W, but that's only a half game up on the Dream now, and really only a game or two separates seeds 2 through 6 when looking at the WNBA standings. The Liberty are 11-15-2 against the spread, but at home they are 12-3 straight up, 9-5 with one push to the number. The Liberty have only had 2 actual road trips this season, but they've gone 2-0 straight up in their first games back home after those, covering in one and the other one resulting in a push. In their first game home after any road games period this season, they've gone 3-1-1 against the spread, and they won all 5 of those outright. The Wings, they sit at 0-3 straight up when going out on the road after multiple home games in a row, 1-2 against the spread in those games. The big news out of Dallas this weekend, man, it was the trade of Dejanay Carrington to Minnesota in exchange for Diamond Miller, Harley Samuelson, who they're going to waive, and a second-round pick in 2027. Now, look, I know she's had some controversial incidents this season, right? But she's a proven defender. She's a veteran with playoff experience, reigning most improved player of the year, all defensive first team. So look, man, this definitely feels like a move for the future. I know she hasn't had the greatest year with Dallas, right? But this doesn't help Dallas right now either, in my opinion, right? This is a move for the future. The Liberty, on the other hand, they did make a move that helps them right now, right? We saw the value in the addition of Emma Miesemann. It was put on display their last game out. She made her impact felt on both ends of the court. She did so in limited minutes, but I'm sure that's going to increase as she gets more familiar with the team and the system. I'm sure we see those minutes go up. So, I mean, end of the day, man, I like New York in this one. Quick look at the injury report shows us that nothing is new for the Liberty, right? It's the same 3 outs: Stewie, Naira Sabally, Kennedy Burke. But the Wings have both Agubawale and Hines Allen listed as game time decisions, and it's unclear if Maddie Segrist is going to be able to make her return yet. But she was a full participant in practice on Sunday, so that is encouraging. But man, end of the day, this is a revenge spot for the Liberty. The addition of Miesemann just gives them, right back the size and the length that they're missing with Stewie out. And the matchup nightmares are just all over the court again when facing off with them. So I think Coach Brondello is also the much better coach out of these two here, and is going to be able to make the necessary adjustments from their last meeting that's needed for New York to take this one, and in my opinion, should be able to take this one pretty comfortably. With that said, they failed to cover in 5 straight now, so I am hesitant in this one. But Dallas isn't a covering machine by any means themselves. Just 4 in their last 10, so it's a New York lean for now. We'll have to see if I end up getting there on the side. For this total, we've seen 7 of the last 10 head-to-head between these two hit the over, including their first matchup of the season. Dallas has hit the over in 3 of their last 4, New York in 3 of their last 5. And this line is pretty high. Like I said, it is going up, but both these defenses have struggled. Some over their last 5, with the Liberty sitting at just 8th for defensive rating, and the Wings are 3rd from last. Dallas has allowed the most threes per game in those 5. New York is sitting at just 7th in that regard. So I'd be leaning towards an over here as well. Then next up, we're going to be looking at the Washington Mystics taking on the Chicago Sky. Mystics open up 5.5-point favorites, and then that injury report came out, right? That's now up to 8.5. Total sitting at 157.5, starting to move down a little bit. This is going to be the fourth and final head-to-head match between these two, and the Mystics will be looking to complete the sweep, man, having won the previous three, covering in two of those three. Mystics are on the road here for the second game of a four-game road trip and will be in off of a loss here to the Dream their last time out. Washington has lost three of their last four now. They are 13 and 15 both straight up and against the spread this year, and they are still in the hunt for that last playoff spot, though. They sit at just 4 and 9 straight up on the road, though, 6 and 7 to the number. The Sky aren't running away with games at home, however, right? 4 and 10 both straight up and to the number at home. They're 7 and 21 straight up on the year, 12 and 16 against the spread. Chicago, the man, they've lost 8 straight now. They've been battling through injury after injury, right when they look to be picking some things up, man, and piecing some things together, right? Atkins and Reese have both missed significant time as of late, and Reese has been ruled out already. It's not looking good for Atkins in this one either. I also see Haley Van Lith on the injury report. Michaela Onyenware is back on there as well. So just kind of how the last couple weeks has gone for Chicago, just very, very, very shorthanded and just getting annihilated, right? Like I said, 8 straight losses. So not good on the Chicago side, man. Washington is looking clean, though, right? Leah Edwards returned in their last game after being out with a wrist injury. She only played 3 minutes, and her name is just constantly in the trade rumors. But like I said, man, nobody on the injury report for Washington in this one. Man, look, I obviously love this young Mystics team, right? If you've been following along on these videos, you can see, right? They've grown on me, but I can't let that distract me from their inconsistencies, especially on the offensive end. Now, looking at each of these teams in their last five, both are struggling to get points up. Washington sitting third to last in the W, averaging 78 points per game, while the Sky are sitting dead last, averaging just 70 a game. Washington is 10th for three-point shooting percentage, Chicago 11th. The Mystics are looking good inside, though. Fourth for points scored from the paint, while Chicago sits second from last in that regard, and they're just ninth for points allowed from the paint. Both teams are good on the glass, but Washington does have the edge in this one defensively, man. They're giving up just under 80 points per game in their last five. That's good for third in the W. They're fourth for three-point shooting percentage allowed and third for three-pointers given up. Thing is, man, I'm not big on laying multiple possessions with the Mystics, especially, almost double digits, right? At 8.5, we're wanting them to win by 9, which against the Sky team, we've seen them pull off 3 victories so far in 3 tries, right? So it's definitely possible. And it's like, they've had their number this season, man. They covered a 7.5 point line in their last meeting just this previous Tuesday, but they're only 4 and 7 against the spread as a favorite at the end of the day this season, man. But this is still Chicago, right? Not only have they lost 8 straight, but also have failed to cover in each of those. Without recent Atkins, man, I can't get behind them, so I'm leaning with the Mystics, and I do think that they're the better team here end of the day. I'm just not sure I can get there laying 9 points with them, man. For the total, though, 3 of the Mystics and Sky's last 5 games have hit to the under, and head-to-head, they've gone under in 7 of their last 10. But you look at just this year alone, an under, an over, and a push. We've gotten a little bit of everything, right, in those 3 games, so I just don't trust either of these offenses to get points up consistently, though, in this one, man, and they've been playing to the third and fourth slowest tempos over the last 5, so give me an under in this game here. The next up, we're looking at the Indiana Fever taking on the Los Angeles Sparks. Fever, 1.5 point favorites in this one, total sitting at 176.5. 10 p.m. tip-off time for this one, man. It has the makings of a pretty good matchup as these two, they're going to come in as 2 of the hottest teams in the W. Now, the Fever, they've won 5 straight, 8 of their last 10, while the Sparks have 6 of their last 7. And each of the head-to-head meetings between these two so far this season as well have gone in the Sparks' favor. They're coming into this one at 12 and 15 on the year, 12 and 14 and 1 to the number, but the home struggles have continued throughout the season, man. They're just 3 and 9 at home straight up, 2 and 10 to the number. The Fever are sitting at 17 and 12 straight up this season. They're 16 and 13 against the spread, and on the road, they've gone 8 and 6 straight up. They are 7 and 7 to the number. Sparks, they bring in a fully healthy roster under this one, man, after, struggles with injuries throughout the season so far. And the Fever, they're going to be down Caitlin Clark here still with that groin injury. Still really no timetable on her. Haven't heard anything new in that regard. Look, over the last 5 games, though, both these teams have been cruising offensively, man. Indiana's sitting at third for offensive rating, while the Sparks come in at fifth. Defensively, though, we do see a bigger disparity. The Fever are coming in at second, while the Sparks are checking in at just ninth. Indiana has been putting up 89 points per game over their last 5, fourth in the W, and the Sparks have been dropping 95 points per. Sparks sit at third for overall shooting percentage from the field, fifth for three-point shooting percentage, and the Fever are putting up the third highest shooting percentage from outside and fifth best overall from the field. Sparks are only allowing the fifth lowest shooting percentage from beyond the arc, but they are giving up the fourth most makes from that zone, while the Fever have been holding opponents to the lowest made threes per game and at just 25% shooting, also the lowest across the W. The Sparks went into Indiana, man, and they knocked off the Fever twice. So there is a revenge factor here of getting beat by a team not only once, but twice on your home court. The Fever do have the better defense of the two and are faring better on the glass as well, giving up the third fewest rebounds per game and the second fewest offensive rebounds. One of these teams, though, they got to lose, right? They can't say high forever, but it's a hard one to pick and essentially a pick 'em, man. Where this line is at, sitting at that 1.5. It's one that I feel you could make a case for either side, and I wouldn't talk you off the other side, right? So I'm gonna lean Indiana for this one, for their defense and for the Sparks' poor track record at home so far this season. Those are the main things kind of pushing me just slightly in Indiana's direction, right? But this is definitely just a lead and has great potential that I just stay away and just kick back and watch this one, man. Because like I said, I think it's going to be a pretty good game. I would like to look at the total, but it's sitting way up there too, man. You know what I mean? And I get it with how well these offenses are playing. 8 of LA's last 10 have hit to the over. 6 of the last 10 for Indiana. Indiana is giving up just the fifth fewest points in the last 5, but the Sparks are giving up the most in theirs. LA is fourth for pace over the last 5. Indiana second. Let's give me the over looking at this one here. Then we're going to be looking at the Minnesota Lynx taking on the Seattle Storm. It's another 10 p.m. tip-off time. Storm are 1.5-point favorites. Total sitting at 156.5. Now, the biggest news first. Fee left out of their last game. She did not return, and she's going to miss at least the next 2 weeks with an ankle sprain. You hate to see it, man. MVP candidate. You hate to see it, right? But also, man, Minnesota has acquired Dejanay Carrington from Dallas, like we mentioned earlier in the video, the reigning most improved player of the year, all defensive first team, right? In case some of y'all forgot, right? I know there's been a lot of noise about her and the controversial actions at times this season, man, but she's a baller. She's a baller and a great defender. Just a huge, huge pickup for this Minnesota team, man. Just add some depth to the squad. And they're already such a good defensive team, man. So adding her into the mix, very, very good. I love it a lot. I think it's a great move. And we can't forget that she played college ball with Alana Smith as well. So she has some built-in chemistry with one of her new teammates as well. So gotta love it, man. I think this move is great for Minnesota. Without Fee out there, though, this one does feel tricky, man. I'm not sure that it's enough for me to want to get there with Seattle, though. You know what I mean? The Storm do come into this one at just 16-13 on the year, 8-7 at home, 14-15 against the spread, but also just 5-2 to the number when playing at home. They've lost 2 straight, 4 of their last 6, and have failed to cover in 7 of their last 10 games now. So inconsistent, and they have so much talent over there, man. They've been a really hard team to read this year. I kinda have them in the same category with the Aces. It's like when it looks like they should crush a team, they get crushed. When it looks like they should get crushed, they come out and they crush a team, and, the ups and downs on both of those squads, you know what I mean? The Storm have had some really, really good wins, and then they've had some really, really bad losses too, so yeah, they're a really hard team to read, guys. But the Lynx, they're coming in after annihilating those Aces, right? 53-point win, just 5 points shy of doubling up on the 58 points that Vegas put up. They scored 111 themselves. It was their third game in their last 4 that they hit triple digits in points. They're 24-6. That's best in the league. They've covered at a good rate this year as well. 17-12 with 1 push, and on the road, they're 7-6 to the number, but winners of 9 of those 13 outright. Storm have been made favorites in 22 games. They've only covered in 8 of those, right? It's Minnesota's first time as a dog this year, man. But if I'm gonna go anywhere with this one, I'd be leaning Minnesota in this one end of the day, right? They've rallied well without Fee over the last couple years in the few games they've had to go without her. They're 2-1 so far in games without her this season. So I'd be leaning with the Lynx as a road dog here on the side. For the total, we've seen Minnesota hit to the over now in 5 straight, 8 of their last 9. But in their 3 games without Fee, we've seen 3 unders. And although head to head, these two have hit 2 overs this season, the Storm have hit to the under in 7 of their last 10. And over the last 5, we have the third rated defense in the Lynx, the first overall in the Storm. So I'd be looking at an under, looking at this one here. And then our next game is going to be the Connecticut Sun taking on the Phoenix Mercury. Mercury 14.5-point favorites in this one. Total sitting at 167.5, starting to move up from that 165.5 it opened up at. And this one also tipping off at 10 p.m. Phoenix opened up the year looking pretty tough, man. They were shorthanded in the process, but they were rolling out a top-rated defense despite that to open up the year. And they started the year 12-4, but since then they've gone just 5-7, both straight up and to the number. So they sit at 17 and 11, 15 and 13 against the spread, but they have looked better at home. They have gone 9 and 4 straight up, 8 and 5 to the number. Phoenix beat the shorthanded Sky their last time out, but they had lost 5 of 6 before that, with that other win being over the young Mystics team. The Sun are coming in off of a loss. They have alternated wins with losses over their last 5 games, but these Sun have been covering machines as of late, man, covering in 7 of their last 9 games. And we do have Satu Sabally listed as a game time decision for personal reasons, which in my time covering the WNBA, that almost always means that they're going to be sitting out, right? So yeah, that's Sabally for the Mercury. Phoenix is back home here after a 5 game road trip in a stretch that saw them play 7 of 8 on the road. So maybe they can get back on track here with what will be a 4 game homestand. These Sun are just 1 and 11 straight up on the road. They're 500 to the number, sitting at 6 and 6. But guys, I don't know how I get behind laying over 14, 15 points with Phoenix, with how bad that they've looked recently, and honestly, how like decent Connecticut has looked as well. I don't know how I get there, man. Phoenix is just 9 and 8 to the number as a favorite, 2 and 2 so far as a double-digit favorite. Then you look at the Sun as a double-digit dog; they've gone 12 and 6 to that number, right, or to the number. So yeah, and guys, check outside for fire raining down right from the skies, because over the last 5 games, man, the Mercury, they're coming in at eighth for net rating. The Sun, they're sitting right there inside the top five. Defensively, they're coming in at fourth. Phoenix at sixth. So yeah, man, definitely some improved basketball from the Connecticut side. The Mercury definitely have the roster to challenge anyone. They won the head-to-head earlier this season between these two in mid-June. They won that by 8, but Sun were double-digit dogs in that one as well. And they covered. They're playing better ball now than they did then. The Mercury have been playing worse, so I'm gonna lean Connecticut's way here, man, catching all those points. And for the total, we saw these two hit over the number their first time around, and 8 of the Mercury's 13 home games have hit over as well. Sun have been playing to the second fastest tempo over the last 5, but they have hit under in 2 straight after hitting to 3 overs in a row prior to that. I think we see a faster tempo game in this one, man. Phoenix on the year is 5th in pace when playing at home. The Sun have been great forcing turnovers and getting out in transition as well as of late. AT thrives pushing the tempo and running the break for Phoenix. So I feel like we either get fireworks in a track meet or a really, really sloppy game here, right? But I'm going to lean into that first option there, man, and look at it over for this one here. I do have some player props that I found for these games that I like, so let's go ahead and jump right over there to Outlier. Let's break those down a little bit. First up, I'll be looking at Sonia Citron of the Mystics. Her points and rebounds over 17.5. Get that at minus 112 right now over that FanDuel. Now, the Sky are sitting at, third from last for points allowed. They're sitting at seventh in terms of rebounds allowed. Now, looking at Sony over the course of the season, she's sitting this at a 57% rate, 16 of the 28 games, averaging just under 19 points plus rebounds. Look at her in her last 5. She's averaging 20.2 points plus rebounds, hitting at a 60% rate, landing on the hook on one of those as well. So, and then head to head, we can see that she has crushed the Sky this year, right? 22, 21, and then 30. That was a 28-point explosion. But you can see over here it's split up, right? 13 points in each of these games with 9 rebounds, 8 rebounds. So a little more, evenly distributed between the points and the rebounds. But anyway, you cut it, right? She's crushing that line this year when playing against the Sky, averaging 24.33 points and rebounds a game in those 3 games so far. So I like this one to kick us off, guys. Over 17.5 points and rebounds for Sony Citron. And I'd be looking at Anissa Morrow of the Sun. Looking at her rebounds also over 7.5. Now, in her last 10, you can see hitting at a 50% rate, but you can see her heating up here, right? And over those last 6 games, look at her in the last 5 specifically, averaging 9.2 rebounds per game. So we like to see that. 4 out of 5 games she has hit. And then head to head, 100% hit rate in that one game against the Mercury. She did smack over that line, landing at 9 rebounds. And you can see the Mercury, right? Sitting at third from last for rebounds allowed. So we do like to see that. So that's going to be Anissa Murrow. Her rebounds over 7.5. Like I said, minus 115 over there at Novig is the best price for finding that right now. I'd also be looking at Rakia Jackson, another rebound prop, but we're looking at the under in this one, under 3.5. And her last 10, you can see hitting at a 60% rate. She did just pull down 9 boards against Seattle, but I don't know what it is about Seattle, man. I don't know what it is about Seattle, man. You got Ezzy down there, Magumake, you got Gabby Williams on the front court. Like, you got a ton of players down there. Balonga. her, her tall self, man. I don't know. I don't know why they're not better on the glass than they are, but I feel like everybody always goes off on the glass against Seattle. So I'm not taking a whole lot of stock into that, right? Some of these other ones where she goes over, she's just getting over in 2 of these out of the 2 or the 3 that she hit, besides like I said, against the Storm. And also, what, a double overtime game where it's 108 to 106. Like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of boards in that one, right? There's a lot of rebounds up for grabs. So, not taking a huge amount of stock into that one, like I said. Looking at Rakia in her last five, hitting at a 60% rate underneath this mark. And then head to head is what I really like here. 100% rate against Indiana in her career so far, right? This goes back in the last season, 3 games, and the 2 seasons so far, or 2 games so far this season, hitting at a 100% rate, landing at 2 pretty consistently, averaging just under 2 rebounds per game because of that one right there. So we'd love to see that. And then we can see that she has failed to exceed 3.5 rebounds as well in 9 of her last 10 games at home, averaging 2.7 rebounds per game in those 10 games. That's a 90% hit rate to the under. Minus 125 over there at Caesars and BetMGM. That's the best price that we're finding on this one right here. Rakia Jackson under 3.5 rebounds. And the last prop that I'm looking at, it's one that we've hit on quite a bit this season. Gabby Williams of the Storm, her points and assists. We've hit it at over 17.5. They've dropped it down to 16.5, and we're still hitting it, guys. So 70% rate in the last 10 games. Um, Head to head, 100% hit rate, right? Averaging 22.5 points plus assists versus the Lynx this season. I mean, just anywhere you look, it's just green, right? It's just a beautiful thing. 69% on the season, 20 out of 29 games. And we can see this mark here. She's exceeded this in 5 of her last 6 games. So the only thing concerning about this is that Minnesota defense, right? You look at the forward position, they're sitting at fourth for points allowed. They're first for assists allowed, first overall when you just look at them overall, right? For points allowed and assists allowed. So definitely a little bit scary when you're looking at this one, but you look back at then you look back at that head to head that we looked at, we can see that, she has gotten up over that mark twice already against that powerhouse of a defense. And they're missing Fee, you know what I mean, down on that front court. And I think that actually plays huge. Guys, that is going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I hope you found the content helpful and useful. And if you did, please don't forget to smash that like button on your way out. Hit subscribe if you have not already. That's going to do it, man. Hope you guys all have a great night. Hope you guys all cash out. I'm going to see you back tomorrow for the next one.